welcome to Vlogtober day 19. It is Sunday, so I don't do a whole lot. I don't have any football this week. My team is currently on a bye, and there's racing. So Talladega is going on right now, but Talladega is one of my least, like, top 3 least favorite tracks, probably my number 2 most hated track. I'm not a super speedway girly. I do not like super speedways because there's so many cautions, and really just I mean, this is, not negative or positive. Anybody can win at a super speedway. I mean, at Talladega, my drivers, basically all my favorite drivers have won at Talladega, so I mean, it might just be like, why aren't you watching then? I don't know. I might watch a little bit of it while I eat. But then we had the F1 race at 3, and I've not seen an F1 race in weeks because they've all been over in Asia. So the time zones just didn't really work out for me, of where I'm like, I'm gonna wake up at this hour to watch this. No, I mean, I would have liked to watch Singapore. My driver did win, and I feel like that's their equivalent to Darlington, where it's just a very the walls of the track. It is a city one, but the walls and then the humidity and the heat can just be very, like, daunting on a driver. But that one, so they're in Austin this week, which we are kind of in Texas colors, the burnt orange, but I will be watching that because I've not watched a race in a while, and we're back in America, and it is a 3 o'clock race. So yes, it is right at my reading time, so we're not going to read in the 3 o'clock hour today, but I wanted to go ahead and start the vlog because I still have my jacket on, which it is too hot to have this on. But if I wore a tank top, I know my grandma would question me about my dress, as a tank top. She'd be like, aren't you cold? I'm like, no, but she will ask me that like 3 times. But then I wear a jacket and she's like, oh, you look very nice today. Like, I look very dressed up. And I'm like, okay. So there is that, which it is a cute outfit, but I do feel like I'm hot. I really need something to drink right now. I'm not going to do a mystical morning right now because I'm just not really, like, feeling drawn to it. And I don't like to put stress on things. But I did finish the Pumpkin Spice Cafe last night. I gave it a 2.5. I would recommend with a maybe, because it is still a very popular book, but the insta love, but the male main character, I'm so picky with male main characters. I am sorry, but he was just a walking red flag. I think my friend said that, and I have to agree. Like, he was just very toxic, in my opinion. He needs to go to therapy. He needs to mature before getting into a relationship and settling down into a serious relationship. It's one thing if you're just like hooking up or whatever, but actually being in a relationship with somebody and just constantly being scared, having abandonment issues, I do think you just need to work on yourself and mature before you put all of that on somebody else. It might just be the empath in me, where I don't want to just throw a lot of emotional baggage at somebody. So that, I just think that I don't understand why our main character Jeannie would settle with this. If I was her, I'd be like, I do like you, but I do think there needs to be more building. Like, you need to work a little bit more. That sounds so rude, telling somebody that they need to work on themselves a little bit more, but I wouldn't be comfortable getting into a relationship with this guy after he went off on me over just a little piece of paper. That was, if he had just asked, hey, what's this about? Problem solved, but no, he's gonna confront you, and in a very, like, angry way. I would be terrified. But it's a romance book, so they obviously end up together, and I don't think they're a relationship that will last, but since it is a romance book, it will. And we will be starting Practical Magic tonight as my mood read, because, witchy, and it was in my stack, and I've never read Practical Magic. I've never seen the movie, and I really want to do both. But I have read a book that is a prequel to Practical Magic that is, like, all their backstories of when they were, like, teenagers, or, it was during the 60s. So I did read that one, and I did enjoy it, and I've heard good things about Practical Magic, so I can't wait to start that later tonight. Yesterday, when I talked about today would be the day that I would finish our Sheriff Knight, I definitely was not thinking about racing because I knew there was no football game. I forgot there were 2 races. So I did watch all of the F1 race. I had Lando winning. He got second. But the Lando Leclerc like battled. That was really fun to watch. I think a lot of people like weren't really entertained. At least like the broadcast booth made it seem that way, because I didn't look at the Reddit threads or anything like that, but I was entertained. I was very sleepy. Like, I am so sleepy. Fred had me up so late last night because he just did not want to go to bed, and therefore nobody else can sleep if he's not sleeping. Like, yeah, he's the only one. Like, yeah, Fred. I don't know what else to say. So I am quite sleepy. Like, when I woke up today and saw that it was 11:21, I was like, oh my gosh, because it is the weekend, but that is way too late. Because I like to start getting ready for the day on Sundays. Sorry, fantasy football is happening. I like to start getting ready for my day at 11:30 on Sundays. And so that's when I, ate. And then after I ate was when I got ready. So I was running a little bit late, but yeah, I am really sleepy. So I'm really scared to get into reading because I do not want to fall asleep. So if I find myself being really sleepy, I will head outside and read outside. I will have to spray the bug spray and everything, obviously. But right now we're going to start by reading inside. But as I was saying, I do not think I'm going to be able to finish this today, but it looks like tomorrow, and then we can just read our graphic novel of the month tomorrow as well, because I wouldn't want to start, because the next book on the TBR is a tome, and I don't want to go right into that without giving it the time that it needs, because it's our nonfiction pick of the month. So I think that everything, how this all did play out, it played out well. Like, if this was the way it was going to be, like, this is actually great. If I don't finish it today, which I might still, but as of right now, I do not think that I will be able to finish it. I think I'll probably have 30 pages left to read during the 3 o'clock hour tomorrow, and then we can do the graphic novel in the 6 o'clock hour. We will just have to see how everything goes, but I am going to get into my reading now. I am done reading in Our Share of Night for the day, so I read 55 pages, and I only have one note, but one of our characters has gone to medical school, so she's getting that education and everything, and we might be getting a scientific explanation for what some of our characters are going through, and I think that is so interesting. I am really liking that part because it's mixing horror with science, like adding just logic to it, I guess, and I am finding that plot line to be very interesting. Just a lot of stuff is coming together as we only have about 45 pages left of the book. But also talking about the racing earlier, I never got to the point of why I wasn't going back to watching Talladega. The race is already over at this point, but my driver, it seems like at first when I checked it said DNF, and now that the race is over, it looks like he did end up finishing the race, but finished in last place for like last place car that wasn't a DNF. And just when I saw it was a DNF, I'm like, yeah, I have no point in watching this. I don't have a dog in the fight. I did have Bubba winning the race, but I think he ended up getting 4th, and Chase Briscoe won the race. So I saw Chase Briscoe win this season, so that's cool. But next week is Martinsville, which is my favorite track. I don't know if I'm going to watch or not, because I don't remember if it's a night race or not. I do think it is a night race, but I might be mistaken, so it really just depends on what time and all of that. But I made some Alfredo in the crock pot like I did last Sunday, so I am going to feed the cats and then get into my pasta. I just had to like kill a roach with, it wasn't Raid, but another kind of spray like that. Like, I hate the smell of that stuff, but it's dead and I flushed it down the toilet. So, Practical Magic, I'm about to get into this. I'm going to be following along with the audiobook. So this is Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I have the 25th anniversary edition, which includes an introduction by the author. I'm going to read the back to y'all. The Owen sisters confront the challenges of life and love in this bewitching novel. For more than 200 years, the Owens women have been blamed for everything that has gone wrong in their Massachusetts town. Julian and Sally have endured that fate as well. As children, the sisters were forever outsiders, taunted, talked about, pointed at. Their elderly aunts almost seemed to encourage the whispers of witchery. With their musty house and their exotic concoctions and their crowd of black cats. But all Julian and Sally wanted was to escape. One will do so by marriage, the other by running away. but the bonds they share will bring them back almost as if by magic. So this is what we're going to be starting. I got to 8% in practical magic, so I'm not going to go like into my detailed thoughts so far. But I was like, why is this giving me Greek mythology retelling vibes? So the narrator of the audiobook is Christina Moore, who also narrated the Treasury Greek mythology book that I read back in the spring. So that is why there. But there is an introduction to this, and I loved it. Like, I want to meet Alice Hoffman. Just this last little part, it says, at this writing, I am beginning a third magic book about Maria Owens. Magic lessons going even further back in time, charting the initial history of the Owens family and their magical abilities. I can't wait for readers to discover the origins of the family. I can't wait to discover it for myself. The story may surprise me, and I expect it will take on a life of its own, but I know that within it, I will find that once upon a time there was a woman or a girl who was different, who was an outcast, who looked for beauty in the world, who was wounded, who fell in love despite the warnings, who would do anything for her sister or her niece or her daughter or her mother, who knew that despite the dangers, we must fall in love whenever we can. I was like, oh my gosh, making me emotional right off the bat, just in the introduction. But let's go over the weekly wrap up. So I only completed one book this week, being the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, and it was a book that didn't do a whole lot for me. It wasn't necessarily bad, but it didn't do a lot for me. And how many like pages have, oh, I've hauled one book. It was Joyride by Susan Orlean. I got it on a day that I wasn't vlogging, but that is a nonfiction book by a 5-star author. It is a memoir. I've read over 100 pages, 1 to 3 days this week. I don't think I will today. I've read 79 pages, and I don't think I'm going to read 20 pages or 21 pages in 1984. I don't even know if I have that many pages left in the book, but we only completed one book this week and only read over 100 pages 3 days this week. So it was an all right week. Like, I really reinvented how I'm reading with my mood reads, and that slump I was in, I do feel like I am, getting out of it. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, so that is, really good, and I am excited about where my reading will go for the rest of the month and the rest of the year, might I say. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a magical emoji in the comments below, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.